Desgraciadamente pasé 4 meses de mi vida
Fortunately,
en
I
este horrible
spent
lugar,
4 months of my life in this terrible place,
comiendo comida que uno no
eating
sabe lo que
food
es.
that we don't even know what it is.
Y pues es feo estar en este lugar.
And it's really ugly to
No
be
le
in this
recomiendo a
place.
nadie estar en
I
este
would not
lugar.
wish anyone to be here in this place.
Aquí la situación es muy fea.
The situation is
Te
terrible
tratan
here.
mal.
They treat
La
you terribly.
discriminación también.
They're very racist.
His story is sadly not very unique. Humiliation, loss of dignity in both private and public police systems have become pretty much the norm. This community has been criminalized, so they are policed and punished at a higher rate than other spaces. These supposed criminals are punished for things that many in our society are guilty of, yet police officers wouldn't even consider stopping them.
For an undocumented person, it's very hard. We don't know what's going to happen with our families that are outside, and what's going to happen if we're deported, if they're going to put us in a detention center. We don't know.
This is Elder. Elder is from Guatemala and migrated to the United States after fleeing the gang violence that was back home. America, the supposed land of opportunity, seems to be just that, except if you're brown and running for your life. Some migrants are being labeled felons for seeking a better life here in the States. And if you end up detained and actually attempt to prove your case, to fight for asylum, you can end up being in our prison system even longer.
When you go into detention, they have the rules, but we have our own rights as human beings, and so we have to demand our rights, and that's what they don't like. I have been a criminal, I've made my mistakes, but I'm a human being. I'm not perfect, but yes, I've been in Tent City, in the tents, as they call it, in Durango, 4th Avenue. It's where you pay for what you've done. You do your time. But immigration, you have the right to make decisions of whether you want to stay or fight your case. Every person fights their case.
Elder was placed in solitary confinement for months while already being detained. His crime? Organizing a hunger strike for better treatment inside the immigration detention center.
With somebody, when the immigration agent is there, and they will tell you, immigration will tell you, you have to sign now, you have no opportunity for anything. The person will be scared and leave. But if I say, you can stay, you're 18, 1 year in detention, but you're going to learn. You can learn English, you can move forward and move along. And that's what they didn't like.
The Obama administration keeps a questionable quota of 34,000 beds to be available, but they don't actually need them to be filled. The private prisons, on the other hand, actively lobby to fill these beds. We're seeing so many similarities between the immigration fight and the war on drugs, where laws are used in the criminalization of black and brown folks across the country for non-violent offenses, keeping the prisons overflowing.
And so when you have that kind of mandate by the federal government, it's public money is going into private hands, which is a problem. And we know that that has a lot to do with the fact that corporations have been getting our public money, to incarcerate people and to ensure that those people spend much of their time inside. So if anybody decides to fight their case, if they say, you know what, I don't want to be deported, I want to figure out how I can stay here, they will not be let free.
The idea that lives only have value and are worthy of protection if they've been lived perfectly is a tremendous issue in our society, especially when you think of the hypocrisy of such an idea. Because really, only certain faces and classes need to live these perfect lives. The rest are allowed to make mistakes, grow as people. In other words, be human. Stay tuned for more to come. This is Elon James White, and you are watching the AZ Dispatch.